pastel painting video. Today we are going to answer a question really fast. The title is, are soft pastels better than oil pastels for portrait painting? So let's see, I just got my soft pastels here. So I'm going to choose to use soft pastels. This is the same exact photo reference from yesterday. We used watercolor to make a painting with that reference. So I decided might as well just use the same reference and not only compare the soft pastel to the oil pastel, but compare it to the watercolor and the oil paint. Just get them all out of the way, let them all battle each other, and we'll figure out whoever is victorious in the end. So hey Grace, Mark L, welcome. So we'll start off with the obvious answer here, and that's going to be, in all actuality, it depends on you, what you're more comfortable using and what you've used the most. So practicality also becomes a thing, like what's more accessible to you. Is it easier for you to get oil pastel versus soft? Is it easier for you to get acrylic versus oil paint? You know, that answer really is going to be completely up to you. But for the topic of this video, we're going to make our assessments based off of everything that we've done up until this point. We've done quite a bunch of live streams, and you know what? I want to make the head even bigger than this, because I want to just focus on the realism today. I could care less about the composition. I could care less about anything other than the realism. So let's make the head even bigger. So I used the yellow ochre to push that out. Let's say the head is going to be about that big. It's going to take up a lot of the paper, right? Like with the pastels, it's very difficult to get into the subtleties with this little nub. So I'd rather have a bigger face. So let's just go ahead and answer that question now. If that's going to be the axes of the eyebrows, this is going to be the axes of the eyes. Nose is going to fit over here somewhat. Mouth is going to be over here, but if the chin is here, then that's already a problem. So blur it out. I'm going to use some of the white. Let's see, Luis, you wrote, answer the title, oil paint superior after all. Yes, I would agree with you. Oil paint is the best, I think. And not just because the old masters used it, in my opinion, but just because the versatility that you get with oil paint is superior to all of the other materials. And you're going to find out more about that if you watch my older videos where I pretty much only use oil paint. If you've seen all the older videos, then you don't have to worry about that. But anyway, this is the bottom of the chin. Let's draw with a little more cautious. Let's just a little more cautiously. I'm tired today, everyone, for some reason. Fridays are tough for me. I don't know why. I guess it's the aging process. Who knows? But that's going to be the bottom of the chin. The mouth is going to fit somewhere about there. Nose is going to fit about there. This is going to be quite a big face relative to all the other faces that we've done. Let's see. No, I get it, Luis. I get it. No worries. The real answer is it all depends on the artist. There's no way I'm gonna make a video and tell you that oil paint is the best in the world. Like, you should only use oil paint, or pastel. Soft pastel absolutely better than oil pastel, and you should only use soft pastel. I'm not going to tell you that, but I will tell you if I have a choice between the two, I'll choose soft pastel for this video in particular. And you'll find out more of the little nuances about this as we go along. So that's about good, I guess, for the placement of the eyebrows, to the eyes, to the nose, the mouth, to the chin. The mouth to the chin is really important because that's what I messed up last time, and I don't want this face to shrink all that much. So now let's just go ahead and get the dark pastel and start to block in the outside shape. Like I said, we are going to ignore a lot of the background with this. If you want to see a version of this painting where there's more of the background involved in it, then definitely check out yesterday's video. That's not what today's going to be about. Today's going to be about cut and dry portrait. How can we improve upon the structure? How can we improve upon the realism that we use to create paintings? Grace Hero, they didn't have acrylics, pastels, or watercolor then? Yeah, no. It's not that just because Rembrandt and everyone painted in oil paint that makes it the best in the world. It's definitely because that's all they had back then. They didn't have acrylic back then, but I'm gonna use the experience that I have accumulated throughout all of these streams, and this is many hours of streaming on YouTube that has come to this point where I'll be talking about soft pastel versus oil pastel, and then of course all of the materials against one another. And it's not that I'm going to stop using these materials. Like, of course I did say that I was going to kind of replace the acrylic with the watercolor, but that doesn't mean you're never going to see me do acrylic again. I just want to generate a conversation in which we talk about our own experiences with each of the different materials. Some of you may be beginners that are already confused as it is when it comes to what materials to use, and that's already come to my attention, whereas in the past it was always oil paint, so it's kind of like, okay, now we know what to do, so let's just keep doing that. But now there's a lot of options, kind of like if you go to a restaurant, ice cream shop, and there's 57 different flavors. It's kind of hard to choose, and you might go to a place that has I don't know, like 5, and each of the 5 are like the top most popular ice cream choices in the county, and it so happens that the ice cream in that one place isn't even that good. It's just people will flock to it because it's an easier choice to make, you know what I mean? So I want to make it very clear that I have more experience with oil paint. I have more experience with charcoal. Working with masses in particular is something that I've done all my life. I've been painting for enough time now to say I've been doing it pretty much all my life. So what I'm telling you is that when you're working with big shapes of value like this, with the soft pastel, as you're seeing me do right now, it's easier for me to mix directly onto the surface like this, and this leads directly towards the same kind of paint handling that you'll see in something like a oil painting. Even a watercolor is going to handle similar as you saw yesterday. but it's not that one is gonna be the end all, but I will tell you, if you're gonna want to work on something for an extended period of time, still the only choice you have is oil paint. If you're gonna work on a painting for 2 years at a time and you use acrylic, I can almost guarantee you that acrylic is going to crack prematurely compared to an oil painting. And that's because the oil painting has this property of fat over lean that pretty much only works because it's so slow drying. It gives you the time to adjust your pigment to oil ratio, your pigment to vehicle ratio. Vehicle meaning the vehicle in oil paint is linseed oil. The vehicle in watercolor is whatever the heck medium goes into watercolor to make it watercolor. Pastel is pretty much supposed to be almost just pigment, but obviously there's more to it than just pigment. So I'm trying to explain as much as I can in the first couple minutes, because I know many of you won't watch this after the first couple minutes. But the main takeaway is going to be that it's ultimately up to you, but if you're trying to work on something for an extended period of time, oil paint is still your main choice. You're going to have people that say that they worked on a pastel for months, or they worked on a acrylic for months or years, but you really won't be able to ask them what it looks like 200 years later. None of us are going to be here at that point, unless science is doing some really strange things and extending our lifespans even further out there. But hey, this isn't the conspiracy channel. This is practicality when it comes to creating artwork. So, practicality's sake, oil paint still wins, I think, because you can work on something for an extended period of time. But you have to deal with things that are like potentially hazardous to the air quality, things that can spontaneously combust, which will probably never happen to you. Might clog up a sink if you clean your rags or whatever over the sink, you might clog it. Stuff like that can happen with oil paint. That's not going to happen with watercolor, at least it shouldn't, or pastel. It's just not going to happen. And again, as I go back and forth between these masses, you'll see this is a much bigger face, and I think we're gonna, that's not the pastel, or it might be, I don't know. But what we're gonna do is we're going to make this as realistic as we can, trying to avoid the photorealistic look, but we're gonna blend into all these values, cover as much as we can, and see if we can go beyond what we did yesterday. I rewatched that video just before this, and my goodness, I realized how slow the beginning of the masses was, and that's because I just had to work light into dark, and it's not so good. I will say I like watercolor, I do. It's great for sketching, but going right into these darks like this with watercolor is just kind of an issue. Maybe I'll find a way to pass that at some point. in the future. I don't know. But all of you are along for the ride as we continue to evolve with our skill sets with each one of these materials. Now, if I were to just oil paint on YouTube and not do any of the other materials, then you wouldn't have to deal with this. I already know most of the nuances with oil paint, but with pastel, in particular, soft pastel versus oil pastel, watercolor versus acrylic, there's so many different nuances with these materials that I'm not going to figure them out that quickly. But I would admit at this stage I'm way further along with the pastel than I was 17 minutes into the watercolor, I think. So let's see, Eddie Marie didn't know there was so much in building up in pastels. It doesn't have to be, but I like texture. And if you like having texture in your paintings, then yeah, this is the way to go with the soft pastels. With the oil pastels, you can actually kind of get it done. I hate to say faster, but I think it might even be faster. But there's also a lack of control in terms of your colors. But yeah, there's a lot of mixing. A whole lot of mixing. Just to get a tonality, just to get a tonal range. But there's a lot more depth into it now than I had at this point yesterday with the watercolors. Again, looking at the big picture before getting hung up on details, or trying to put in as much of the outside shape and the surrounding shapes. Though I am running out of pastels. Look at this. This is a nub. But in a way, this is kind of fun. I imagine Sargent would have probably done a similar routine if he was using soft pastels. Hey, Michael MC. William, no, I don't give these to friends. I don't really give these to almost anyone. If I don't sell them, most of these end up being thrown away or painted over. Meaning with pastels, I'll paint over the back side. This one is fresh, there's none behind it. But I already have done a couple pastels where I used the back side of the paper of a previous one. And that's just because it devalues the work. Now, obviously, this looks childish compared to what you would think a career artist's painting will look like. Thanks, Eddie. We're just getting started here with this. We're gonna push it as far as we can. It is bigger than the one we did yesterday, so we're gonna push it further. It's not necessarily that bigger is better, but bigger is better when it comes to trying to have more form. It's just easier to see the smaller shapes because they're bigger. See how easy you can blend these shapes? That would be very, very difficult with the oil pastels. Just that little decision alone. Hey, Owling Dog Design. William Bogart. Thank you. I could do one portrait a day, but I kind of don't. I do one portrait a day, Tuesday through Wednesday, or I guess in this case, Wednesday through Friday. So 3 portraits a week. But yeah, one portrait a day is typically the speed that I work. Typically won't take more than one day for a face, but of course I will if it's for a studio painting. Appreciate the comments. It's always been my aim to be able to paint what I want to paint every single day and present it to people in a way that they enjoy it and it adds something to their life and of course to my life in terms of surviving on here as a YouTube content creator. just kind of mixing here, right? This is subtlety in color is not something that I can get even with a lot of different pastels, oil pastels. It's very difficult to achieve. And I noticed it even yesterday with the watercolors. I didn't quite get this range that I wanted, unfortunately. Get a rich patron. Let's see, you wrote, what did you enjoy the most doing the watercolor portrait? Good question. What I enjoyed the most about doing the watercolor portrait was building up the layers, light, and up until dark. That was fun, and that was because it's so malleable, I guess the word is. Like, it's just so freeing to be able to work that way. And it's exactly like this, but this gives me the ability to work any range that I want. I can go light in the dark, dark in the light, doesn't matter. But that's what I liked about the watercolor yesterday. But ultimately, it started giving me problems at the end once the paper started drying. That's not going to happen with this. Kind of like most relationships, isn't it? The beginning is always the honeymoon stage. Everything's like goo goo gaga, everything is great. And all of a sudden you can't stand each other. And then you have to, think beyond fun and think about like certain things like responsibility, honor, respect, duty, like all these things. It builds maturity, I guess. So I did notice that watercolor does have a stage where once that paper starts drying and it starts buckling, that's kind of it. Like, that's the paper saying, okay, I'm done. I'm clocking out now. Do what you want to do, but I'm going to clock out. Whereas with this, it just has this kind of like freedom of motion, I guess, where you can just I could keep doing this for 3 hours, 4 hours without putting any details in the eyes or whatever. Just keep going back and forth until this subtlety is just as clear as a sergeant. I'm glad you like the analogy, Eddie. Patience is the word, I guess. Art is just like a relationship. If you don't have the patience to get past the tough times, then you're not ever going to experience that 50-year anniversary or whatever. Like for me, being able to say that I've been painting for well over a decade now, like trying to paint at the highest level possible every single day for over a decade. It takes patience. Sure, there was times where I wanted to stop. Like, there was times where I wanted to quit because it was just not getting anywhere. But it's that patience to continue on. And going back to the original topic of the video, the fluidity of the medium has a lot to do with the way that I work and the way that I'm presenting things to you. Now, I feel like there's thousands of other portrait artists or content creators on YouTube now. So you have your choice of what you want to take in. What I'm trying to show you is a way to work with complete freedom. None of that like super careful measuring stuff. where you just look at your model, you look at your reference, and you just react. You stop thinking about anything, and you just start reacting. I want that for all of you. But I mean, I will say acrylic it got in the way. There was just too much thinking involved in the layering with acrylic. Watercolor is, I think, better than acrylic in the sense that you can work without having to think so much and just kind of slap on the color and just let it build. And I'd say that soft pastel is better than oil pastel in that you can just slap on the pastel and just keep moving it around. Oil pastel, even the Senneliers, the ultra expensive ones, not that expensive, but like $1 more than these, or maybe even the same, I don't know, but they're more expensive than your usual oil pastels. It just doesn't let you operate because there's a pause when you add a certain, like, sure, that's too red, right? Well, fine, just go over it with that, and all of a sudden we're all good. It doesn't work that way with the oil pastels. So, at risk of losing some of you that are adamant about either acrylic or oil pastel, I'm not telling you this to get more subscribers or to make any money off of you. These are my experiences throughout time now of using these different materials. I regret nothing though. They've all taught me something. I have no regrets. Oh dang, I think I just saw or heard a car accident outside. So if you hear a bunch of noises, I am on the 14th floor. There's a window right next to me. So don't think your car is getting towed. Oh, somebody's stuck in the ice. So I'm just randomly watching someone stuck in the ice, and I wish I could help them, but I'm gonna stay here. So let's see, what did I miss? So Eddie, you need to blend more so it's not too scratchy. Michael, you wrote, it's great to try all mediums. Mark L, you wrote, blending well is so difficult. William wrote, difficult thing is to do the boring things. That's part of the journey. Well, thank you for that comment, Owling Dog Design. I'm just giving you my honest input about the different materials, and having been trained the way that I've been trained, I've been, my pursuit has been to find form with freedom, and with YouTube, my pursuit has been to make a living showing you all how to find form with freedom. So it's about bringing you all on this mission. Competition is fierce here on YouTube, but it's a good thing. Without it, I wouldn't have even come up with the idea of trying to use all these different materials. I just saw that no one else did. So I decided I was up for the challenge. Now, I will say that oil pastel has a much nicer finish than soft pastel. So it looks like an oil painting. And you can even use a canvas. You can do oil pastel over top of a canvas and that'll work. So that's pretty neat. That's unique. can't do that as easily, I don't think, with the soft. This is all compare and contrast with the experience that I've had with each of these materials. But the thicker you paint in the pastel, the smoother the finish will be. So this is a nice thing. Really nice thing about it. Oil pastel is high premium Crayola. I can see that. Hey man, we all had our Crayolas when we were kids. We all had our Crayolas, so I can see where that makes sense. Somebody answer this question. I know that Degas was known for his pastels, but did he use oil pastel or soft? Part of me thinks it's soft pastel, but part of me also thinks it's oil pastel. Whoops, just by the way it looks. What did Degas, did he use soft or oil pastel? And I think there's a shop that's open, that's still open today, that Degas used to shop in. Legend has it. But look at the beauty and the subtlety of these planes. Like it's not even anywhere near finished, but you can already see where it's heading. This is why I chose to work a little bit larger. And even that, I should have made it even larger. Because look at how much tinkering I have to do to get this plane. I have not done murals, no. If I were to do murals, it would probably be acrylic. Because it's closer, I think, to wall paint than oil paint. I don't think it'll be more durable, but hey, at least I get the job done. Appreciate all the likes, everyone. And of course, one big takeaway with pastel versus watercolors using this tone. And of course, you can use a tone with acrylic as well and with oil pastel, but something about layering all these colors on top of this tone, there's something so, what's the word, visceral, I guess, about it. The colors are very ethereal in nature, like very out of this world kind of beauty. Say wall paint with crayons when you were the size of Frodo. That makes sense. I too also got in trouble for painting with crayons on the walls when I was a kid. But rather than beat me, my mom rewarded me, I guess, for being somewhat creative. No details needed just yet. This is why I said this is a little tough, because I don't have a specific point on here. This requires a really specific touch, light touch. I noticed it yesterday that the model has kind of this Bouguereau type look to her. We're going to try to capitalize on that look. There were soft pastels with high pigment and barely no binder, which makes it powdery and unstable. Well, I certainly don't want that. I have used pigments, raw pigments on their own before to make paint, so I can't imagine that would work. Something has to hold it together. Without the curls. Oh yeah, a Boogeroo without the curls. I will make it my mission to one day buy more colors for the soft pastels. One day you will find Yupari in the art store purchasing more soft pastels, or in his Amazon account. I've gone pretty far with these soft pastels, with only having about 5 of them. Not too many. And they've all worked this well. Something to be said there about these materials. Whereas with the oil pastels, I had to buy a lot. Like I said, it's not that I'm not going to use the oil pastels anymore. I'm just explaining the differences that I've found out. Grace wrote, Degas used Roche pastels. Their pastels are the best because they start with some pumice, greater concentration of pigment. Oh, okay. I gotta look that up. I got a lot of stuff I gotta look up. I don't like the fact that the Degas, I haven't found one Degas pastel that has any degree of subtlety, and I know it's because of the look of the day. Which is a tad bit unfortunate. I don't think it says much about pastel. I'd like Mary, was it, ooh, I forgot. Mary Cassatt, I guess we did a Mary Cassatt pastel a while ago. Yeah, I wonder, Grace, if those pastels are more toxic, though, being so rich and pigmented. No, I don't have a Amazon wish list, but I appreciate the sentiment. Maybe I should make one. Maybe I should. That would certainly help with some things. I know that a bunch of other YouTubers have stuff like that. One of my favorite channels to watch back in the day was a tarantula channel named The Dark Den. And he always had a video at least once a month of what people would send him, either for reviews or for entertainment purposes. I like the idea. Here's where you gotta be careful with the outlines. Mary Cassett used chalk-based pastels. That would make sense. I could see that. Kind of like these. I would say are like chalk-based pastels. Yeah, there's just so much. There's so many more like little tiny layers like that. Not tiny, but like small additions of like this light green, for example, into that shadow that wouldn't work with the oil pastels. This wouldn't work that easily. All right, we got 6 minutes till the break. I think that car finally got out. It took a while. Metallic paint with gouache and pastel. Wow. Mary Cassett was ahead of her times. So I guess we're in a good place to start adding the subtlety. Again, it'll be kind of difficult to make a exacting mark with this, so do the best we can. Then of course we take a break. Don't think I've seen that painting of hers. Maybe I have, I don't know. Oh, thanks, Oling Owl Design. Thank you for the super chat. Hooray, we got a super chat. That will go into the future pastel colors. Thank you, Oling Owl Design. Really appreciate the super chat. Always brings a smile to my face. Thank you. Thank you. I suspect the next colors I'm gonna get with the pastels are gonna be blues and greens. Blues, greens, and grays, definitely need those colors. I will attribute that to Oling Owl Design. Thank you for the super chat. I don't even want to go on break now. It's been about an hour, so we're going to take a break pretty soon. Really appreciate the super chat, Oling Owl Design. Alright, I'd hate to do it, everyone, but it has been an hour. Really thankful for Oling Owl Design for the super chat. And it has been an hour, so we're going to take a break. I'll return to the subtleties stage, even though we've kind of already started it. subtlety stage of this pastel painting. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most difficult, this is about, I want to say, 6 difficulty range. If you're going to recreate this one, know that the subtlety of the face here is very difficult, mainly because of the photograph. The lighting of the photograph. It's tough to find these planes. Thanks, Olling Out Design. Thank you for the compliment. Oh yeah, the cassette with the pet dog. Got some blue flecks in the skin. Yeah, blue does do a lot for the skin colors, which is, I guess, why we have this kind of bluish tone underneath, which helps with something. Yes, we will go ahead and take a break now. So as usual, don't go anywhere unless you absolutely have to. I will play that video that I've been playing all week, the sample from the Patreon, but I'll start it off already like towards the middle, so you can watch the end of it by today. Alrighty then, so we're gonna take a break. Thanks everyone. We will be back in just a couple minutes, and this time I will remember. I have remembered to raise the light sensitivity as it is getting darker outside. Alright, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Alrighty then. I have returned. By the way, you didn't really miss much with the second half of this one. We really only get to that point in the break time video, but for the future break times, I will put the video that comes after that, so you can watch more of the development of the painting. Alright, so let's continue on with the subtleties here. Moving pretty fast. It's only been about an hour. We've already gone to the point of the little tiny subtleties, so let's continue on here. And with both soft and oil pastel, it does present a problem of forcing you to get closer to the painting. So that's something to be aware of. Hey Giselle, no worries. No worries. This is the same reference from yesterday, if you're wondering. The whole concept of the video, or of the stream, was to discuss whether or not soft pastels are better for portraits than oil pastels. So the question is, soft pastel or oil pastel? And the answer is yes. Meaning it's totally up to you, but I have chosen soft pastel for the ability to blend with really small, like this, little small washes. Whereas with the oil pastels, you really gotta kind of dig into it and then mix into it with like a tool. Just not that bad. It does have a texture. Oil pastel does have a nice texture that soft pastel doesn't have. But this is a tad bit easier to mix. Appreciate all the likes, everyone. And I guess I'll go into the rest of the composition. I was going to isolate the face, but now it's starting to look weird not having the rest of the face. Painting is kind of Bouguereau-esque to me, kind of reminiscent of Bouguereau. I do have a slightly greenish color. This is greenish, but not quite that green. Really caked on the pastel there for the clavicle area. It wasn't my intention to put in the background or more of the background, but I thought might as well. Just feels like it needs more since it has that Bouguereau-esque kind of look to it. Hair with soft pastels is really fun. Always remember there's planes, planes, and more planes. I did do a Mary Cassette pastel a while ago. It's a soft pastel. I think that was the first time I used this paper, this mixed media paper. Feels like a long time ago, but couldn't have been more than 6 months ago. and shadow for the hair. Just like we did yesterday. Has anyone seen those cat short videos on Facebook where there's like a car that's about to do some crazy stunt, like some drift or something like that, and actually gets away with it? And then there's it's like a white cat steering a steering wheel, and then there's a black cat with glasses next to it. There's always this like one random funny song. It's gonna be tough to stop Facebook. I mean, they're on a roll. Even I'm watching cat videos now, and I didn't used to do that. Planes and planes. Oh, thanks, so there is something more. There's something more to these colors, I will say, yes. I wasn't that happy with how the watercolor turned out yesterday, so I felt like I had to do a second try with a different material. Luminosity. The background just kind of adds some context. And I think the tone of the canvas or the paper works on its own. I don't think it needs any more. Yes, this is the Zorn palette with soft pastels with the addition of so it's the Zorn palette with the addition of a light green and a brown. The brown is in pieces now, so this is the brown. But yeah, it's the Zorn palette. I do need to add some extra colors to it, to the palette. The Zorn palette works just fine, but there's more that can be done. There's always something more. The green I'm using is like a light yellow green. I think I have it typed up in the description box. It's not that I'm trying to be lazy, I just don't remember the name of the color. It's just like a bright yellow green. Maybe I have it on my computer somewhere. Maybe I don't. I have white, yellow, red, brown, black. It's a good thing I checked it. I have no clue what it is, to be honest. And it's already all broken up. Does it have a name? Oh, there it is. It's Cinnabar Vert Clair by Royal Talons. Has a cancer warning, which is whoops. I usually try not to buy pastels with that, but oh well. Cinnabar Green. That's what it is. It's Cinnabar Green. Cinnabar Green. And it's not in the description box, so it's a good thing I checked. Whoops. I may have forgot. Cinnabar Green. See, I'm not like one of those professors that's like, refer to page 394. That's not me. Huh? Oh no. Yes, it is larger than the one from yesterday, and yes, it is, I think, the same size paper. I just made the head a lot bigger, which is probably what I should be doing for the most part anyway with these portraits. This gives me the chance to add more nuance to the face, a little bit more structure. The yeah, it's just a bigger face relative to the paper. I'm glad you like this better. See, it's all about the patience. Did this yesterday and didn't quite turn out that well. But did I give up? Yes, I did. And then I tried it with a different material and it worked. A little bit better. Something my dad used to tell me when I was a kid. Advice that I still take to this day. He would tell me that if you keep trying something and it's not working, if something you're trying isn't working, just take a rest and try it again later. Now, obviously, he meant something that was possible, not like Einstein. That's insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. We're talking about something that should be possible, like painting like this. Should be possible, but sometimes something isn't working well, and we don't know what it is, and we just gotta take a break. Come back with more clarity of mind. But this is really fast to get to this stage in 1 hour and 30 minutes. 1 hour and 31 minutes. That's true, you're right. I don't think about that as much as I should. Placement can make or break it. I wasn't too happy with how the oil painting turned out or the watercolor. But thankfully I'm pretty happy with how the pastel has turned out. All in under 2 hours. So I'll definitely be buying more of these. And you know what? Want to know something interesting? That was the last sheet of paper in this. There's none left. That was the last sheet of paper. So that kind of worked out. Oh, thanks, Giselle. I don't think I did too bad yesterday, but I felt like it was lacking in some. I think it was lacking in the form and color department. But I liked the composition with more of the background and stuff. But the face wasn't really like the main point, I think. I mean, it was, but it wasn't as illuminated, I guess, as this. So pretty much like the oil painting, we got to this stage on Wednesday, follow the direction of the form. Oh, thanks, Markel. Boogaroo-like, I think. Something about this pose, the lighting, the face. Something about this is very Boogaroo. Appreciate whoever just blew up my Instagram. It's got like 20 likes in 1 minute. Thank you, whoever that is. Now it's completely dark outside. You notice it over there, right? It was bright. The birds were freezing. The sky was blue. And now it's just all kinds of dark. This might be my fastest one yet at 1 hour and 38 minutes to get to this point. I had a conversation with a friend. Was it like, was it yesterday, I think, about like goals and ambitions in life. And the one friend wants to be this like big entrepreneur, and ever since I was a child, all I've ever wanted was to be the best artist I could possibly be, and being the best at this particular thing here. Not just in, like how close is the likeness or whatever, but like being able to present this to people, make it relevant, even in today's society filled with short, entertaining videos of cats that I find highly fun to watch. So a lot of back and forth kind of things, pushing the form here and there, softening edges, sharpening other ones. For example, I'm going to sharpen that one. Hey, Jonas. Let's see. Casella, you worry that watching all those short videos is getting our attention span to be smaller. Oh, yeah, definitely. I can see that. That's probably more of a prolonged exposure, or I don't know. I appreciate those of you still watching these longer length videos. Of course, I'm gonna make some time lapses of them, so you can see it as a time lapse. Something about this type of look, I guess, this type of expression. I've done a lot of paintings in the past with the same exact pose, same exact expression. Of course, different models. I'm sure this one is all of 10 years younger than me, if not more. Unless this is an older picture, I don't know. It's from Unsplash. You never really know. On Wednesday, I will be painting a portrait of another Billiard Academy friend of mine. If all goes well. Oh, thanks, Grace. Going by a lot faster than usual. Probably because it's just fresh on my mind from yesterday. Thanks, Cassell. You have been here since they started back again in July. Oh, thank you. What's going on, Eileen? Does everyone have weekend plans? Today is Friday. I myself have a pool tournament tomorrow. MVP tournament. It's a tournament of all the league MVPs. The winner gets a second chance for an all expense paid trip to compete in Vegas. No pressure. I'm just gonna go to have fun, really. I'm not gonna stress myself out about it. But big plans for tomorrow for me. Gonna be in a pool tournament. It's a 8-ball tournament on the winner's side. 10-ball tournament, loser side. At least that's what they tell me. And tonight a new league is starting up at my academy. I don't know if I'm gonna join it. I have not figured out the logistics yet with my schedule. I have not. What's everybody doing this weekend? Anyone going out to paint? Going to any museums? Yep, 8-ball. A little more contrast with the shadows. Holding out design recovering. Uh-oh. Hopefully everything's all right there. Thanks, Jonas. Mark Elliott painting on the weekend. Life class tomorrow. You mean like life drawing? Self-portrait on Sunday. Sounds fun. Grace still recovering from a virus in December. Oh no, it led to an infection. Well, thank you. Well, I hope you feel better. Being sick is no fun. Oh, painting from life, you said. You know, there's a group I used to go paint with on Saturday mornings. Maybe I should just ditch the tournament and go paint. That would be a lot more driving. Drive all the way to Maryland. Can't ditch the tournament though. I already signed up. Plus I might have one of my pool friends watching, so I'll be there, don't worry. I'll be there. You never know who's watching. This is where like a kind of like a king's blue would be nice to have. Make this lighter and cooler, but not so light and not so cool. Eileen, you said you recovered some gouache paints for Christmas. Oh, cool. Try some gouache. Do I ever go out to paint plein air? I have not went out to paint plein air in a long time. Though I have a really nice view next to me of a whole lot of traffic on 95 and some very tall buildings. So I could do some Monet kind of painting the time of day, cityscapes. There really isn't much of an art community here other than people taking classes, at least from what I've found. From my research, there was a time where I almost started up a group. Keyword almost. I just didn't really follow through with the scheduling and stuff. But maybe in the future. I created a Facebook group for it too, but just couldn't quite get the date situated for like when to do what space to do what, and it turns out it's just a lot easier to just have your own little corner somewhere and just work in peace. I think that kind of just works. Giselle took down the tree. Tree had to go down. no, you got sick as well. Sorry about that. Alrighty, so we are almost at 2 hours. The painting is pretty far. I don't think there's going to be that much left after the break. So probably won't go up to the full 3 hours. This time it was almost superhuman speed. I think it's because we used the same reference as yesterday. Mark Ellie said he had the same bug. Took 3 weeks. Yeah, what was that? I think it was 3 weeks for me also. Alrighty, everyone, we're at the 2 hour mark. So that means we are going to take our second and final break. So as always, I'll play that video. I'll play it closer to the end so you watch the whole thing till the end. The audio will be cut off. And when we return, really won't be that much left with the painting, so I won't take that long of a break. So just a couple minutes. Then I'll return, do some last minute touch-ups, and I think this will be pretty much it. No worries, Mark L. Have a good night. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week. Sorry to hear that, Grace. Okay, everyone. I want to take a short break, a couple minutes. I'll be right back. We'll finish this one up. Alrighty, as promised, I did not take that long during the break, so let's add our last little details, the earring, the cast shadow from the shirt, all those little nuances that we don't need, but we can put in anyway. Really appreciate everyone that showed up for the stream. And of course, a super thank you to Oling Al Design for the super chat. Really appreciate it. As you have all seen, the soft pastel does have certain attributes to it that make it better for this type of work than oil pastel. However, there are pros and cons, and ultimately the choice is up to you what you want to use. And I guess I don't know. I don't see much else. Obviously, there's some differences with the lips. I guess we can tackle that on. I can't wait to get a dark red. It's also on my list of stuff I need to get. Pastels that I need to get. I really try to avoid the ones with the cancer warnings. I don't know why I got the Cinnabar green with the cancer warning. Thanks, Aline. Giselle, you said you would love to see me use oil pastels since that's what I have and they don't work with the same technique for soft pastels. Well, we've done a couple of art. Depends if you have if you have the artist grade oil pastels, then you can use the same type of techniques that we used in the past with the oil pastels. There's pros and cons to each of the materials. With the oil pastels, this stage is a little bit more tricky because you can't just add little changes at a time as easily. Yeah, the oil pastels was, I want to say right before, dang, I guess it was a while ago. That was right before we started streaming in this new place. But we have done some of them with the oil pastels, with the senneliers. But I am definitely pleased with the way that this one turned out. I bombed it yesterday, and then on Wednesday, kind of bombed it. But this pastel made up for it. There's gonna be highs and lows, good days, bad days. Some paintings will go well, some will not. The important thing is to eat really good pizza. No, I'm just kidding. The important thing is to have some objectivity. Try not to look into what you're doing too much. Look at it from afar. Don't get too emotionally attached to whatever you're painting. Try to see it for what it is. It's a learning process. It's a labor of love. Love the labor. Enjoy what you're doing. Don't worry about the haters. Just keep on painting. Okay, I'd say that's pretty good for now. Pretty good for today. Soft pastels for the win. So that's probably all I got for you today. I'm gonna go ahead and sign the painting before I forget. I'll post a video of this, or not a video, but a picture of this. A reel, let's call it, to Instagram. Just doing this last minute soft edge. Okay. Good enough. Good enough. So I will sign the painting now. I'll see if there's any last minute questions. We will return next week. Any last minute questions? Let's sign this painting. I don't even want to sign it. Sign it top right. Alrighty. Signature makes it official. I officially didn't bomb this one, at least I don't think. Thank you, Giselle. Thanks, Owling Dog Design. Again, thank you so much for the super chat. It means so much to me. And that's right. I'm gonna watch, you mean listen to the song about Vincent? Let's see. Oh, we got a couple likes from a couple different people on Instagram. Thanks, everyone. Including Owling Dog. Thank you so much. Yes, I will be adding more to the Etsy soon. Absolutely. I'll look up the Vincent van Gogh song. I guess the song dedicated to him. Alrighty. So thanks again, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful week. I wish you the very best. And I will see you next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.